Hey guys, we're live right now. Um, very live. We're outside and live right now. I know we haven't done a live stream in probably 2 weeks. I don't think we did one last week. Um, I'm actually going to hop up in a minute and go get my iPad so I can read y'all's comments. But yeah, this is a new look for us, and there's a reason for it. I'm going to let more people get into the room before we go any further, but I will start to explain what we're going to do. I've had a lot of people emailing or commenting on different posts that we make, wanting to take a look at the new Jeep. We've got a new legally armed America Jeep. I sold my old Jeep and really modifying this Jeep right here. Done a lot of work to it, internally and outside. Some really cool stuff. So I thought it would be a pretty cool thing to go ahead and just kick off the live stream tonight and just have the whole thing out in my yard. This is in my driveway of my house. So that's my old truck right there. I say my old truck, that's my truck. My, I guess it's 4 or 5 year old Tundra. But anyway, I've got the newer Jeep right here. And had it a little over a month now. You guys, if you're keeping up with us on some of our social medias, Instagrams and Facebooks, you've probably followed us a little bit and seen some of the modifications that we've been making to it. So we've been doing some pretty cool stuff to it. And again, I'm going to wait for the room, not to fill up, but I'm going to let a few more people get in here before I take you on a tour of the Jeep. So again, I thought this would be kind of a cool little setup tonight instead of the same, you know, in the world's only above ground underground bunker. Instead of a shooting in there again, you know, let's do a change of pace, change of scenery. Actually, I don't have confirmation on this yet because I'm not sure, excuse me, about our Wi-Fi connection next week. Excuse me, but we will be at the NRA show next week in Dallas. And, boy, we'd really like to figure out a way to set up for a live stream. And you know what would be really fun? If any of you guys out there are actually going to Dallas, how cool would it be if we all set up somewhere, whether it be at a pub or a bar or something like that, and actually had our live stream with a live audience there and the live folks online also. How cool would that be? That'd be really neat. There's going to be some, I guess, some cool stuff going on at the NRA exhibition next week also in Dallas. Whether you are pro-NRA or anti-NRA in the gun world, it's so weird right now, y'all. We have such an odd, I guess it's, I don't even know what to call it. It's an odd situation where the anti-gun left hates the NRA, and there's some in the gun world that also hate the NRA. So you're not really sure which anti-NRA group you're engaging. I will tell you that I will be engaging. I'm staying neutral on everybody's whole. I've got my own opinion about some of the things the NRA is doing, and I don't air my dirty laundry, but I have my own opinion about it, and I voice my opinion behind the scenes. I don't do it out in the open, but I have some very close people at the NRA that I have voiced some of my concerns with on how they may have handled some things. However, I am more concerned with combating the left anti-NRA and anti-gun people, because those people are not just anti-NRA. Those people are anti-gun, and those are the people that are directly attacking me, my family, and many of you out there. So that's the people who I am focused on next week. Now, there will be, from what I've read, there's going to be some celebrities, and I say celebrities with a smile because maybe I'm just at that age now, but when I see celebrities who are supposed to be people that you're supposed to know speak out on something that's anti-gun, I'm always perplexed recently because I'm like, who is that? And I'm not trying to be sarcastic or smart about it. I don't know who many of these celebrities are. I know the idiots out there like the Sean Penns and the Robert De Niro's, you know, the real ass clowns that are out there that we grew up watching their movies and all that. But there's a singer, and I don't even remember her name. I'm not trying to be cute. I do not remember her name. But apparently she's somebody. I'm guessing it's kind of like the New Kids on the Block thing where, you know, the adults don't pay attention to it, but millions of kids do. So, I mean, they're actually extremely popular, but no adults really know who they are. I think that's who this girl is because, again, her name did not even ring a bell. And I mean, I'm not directly connected with pop culture, but I kind of know who people are. You know what I mean? Anyway, they are supposedly staging an anti-gun rally in Dallas next week. And boy, I'm hoping we can catch them because I would love to do a live stream like this with those people and not to be confrontational, guys, to actually ask them some of the things. I would be willing to bet that whoever this superstar is that's supposed to be there, I'd be willing to bet that that person has some security with them. Just a hunch. Just a hunch. My real guess is that person either will not even show up or they won't be on the grounds where the true protest is. That's just my guess. So anyway, guys, next week should be kind of interesting because, again, so much is going on right now in the world. I know some of the anti-gun stuff has died down. But even whenever there's not a whole lot of anti-gun stuff going on, once that NRA convention or annual meeting rolls around once a year, it always gets them riled up. So we expect to see some stuff going on next week in Dallas. We will be, actually, we're down in South Louisiana, so we're 6 hours from there. So we will be driving up Friday morning. I encourage any of you guys who are going, please look us up. We will be between several booths. I know the Drago Gear booth will be around there, Wind and Weaponry booth, probably the Rock Island booth. We will be working, in different areas. We got business that we attend to over there also. But we really love to meet the people that are hanging out with us online or wherever. So yeah, man, if you're there, look us up, hit us up, comment on videos, email us, paul@legallyarmedamerica.com. Anything of that nature. We're going to have, some of our legally armed, actually it's the same shape as my cap, but they're red, Legally Armed America patches that we'll be giving out, until we run out. So if you're there, hit us up early. Friday, Saturday, Sunday we'll be there. Holler at us and we'll give you a patch. Like I said, while supplies last, we'll give them. I think we're going to do some pretty neat little things also where occasionally we'll pick somebody to give a t-shirt to, kind of like this one right here, shall not be infringed. We'll do stuff like that. We'll bring some additional stuff because, we're driving. So it's so much easier because we can bring whatever we want without having to fly to some of these things. It's nice whenever one of these conventions or meetings or whatever is close to home so we can drive to it and save ourselves the hassle of flying and packing bags and limiting ourselves on what we can or can't bring. So in this case, it's kind of cool. It's going to be neat. I'm going to go ahead. Let's see. What is it? 7:06 my time right here in Louisiana. What do you say we take a look at the Jeep? I've been wanting to show everybody. I'm calling this the Warthog 2. And again, if you hear background noise, I hear somebody, one of my neighbors, cranking up and leaving. Oh, it's a UPS truck. I'm calling this a Warthog 2 because my other Jeep, my older Jeep, was the original Warthog. And I call them that because I make them ugly. I make them cool in my eyes, but they're basically ugly. And plus I'm a big fan of the A-10 Warthog fighter plane. So this is Warthog 2. And actually, since we're sitting here, I'll go ahead and show you what I can show you here. As you can see, I've changed the whole grill out. This is actually, and it's funny because sometimes I have a habit of not catching the most obvious things that are right in your face. When I ordered this grill, it didn't even hit me that the name of it was Vader, but it's actually, when one of my coworkers said, it looks like Darth Vader, I was like, you know what? The thing was called the Vader, and the grill kind of pokes out right here and goes back in. I'll give you a closer look at that here in a second. So yeah, that's the name of it. Of course, I put the LED lights in it. It's got the Fab 4s bumper on it, front and rear, steel bumper. I'm talking a high impact bumper. If it hits something, it's gonna it's gonna make a mark. Let's see, what else can you see from the front? Of course, you see we have the Legally Armed decal that runs across the front there, front visor area. It says Legally Armed America. We've got a new hood. In fact, let me show you some of this stuff up front, up close here. All right, before I go too far, you can see I've got the rigid lights here. There's one down there also, and of course that's the Fab 4s bumper. Let's see. I've also got the smoked out blinkers that I put in there, LEDs also, just like the LED lights here. The hood, really cool looking hood. You can see that. Definitely a different look on a Jeep. More of a meaty look, you know what I mean? Instead of having the flat hood, it's got a cool look to it. The kind of funny thing was, sometimes you have to modify things on your own. These vent covers right here, they came with the hood and they were designed to put 3M tape, double-sided tape, to hold them on, but they couldn't. The ridge, this thing rolls down underneath the ridge here, and then there's an indentation on the actual hood itself. You would have had to have a piece of double-sided tape that was half an inch thick to be able to reach that. So what I did was I got some black screws and I just drilled some holes through the hood and through the carbon fiber pieces in 3 different spots here. It just fixed them with locking washers and bolts on the back of it. It actually looks cool, you know what I mean? It goes with the bolts that I have on the hood itself and the vehicle itself. So I mean, the screws don't look out of place here. So again, kind of a on-the-fly modification I had to do, but very necessary. Let's see, fenders. I took the old white fenders off, the big giant kind of grocery getter fenders. They look like a soccer mom would have been driving it or something. I took those off, and they had the big flare that came down like this. I took those off, put these on. Then I realized when I did that I exposed all of this. So I also got some aluminum inner fender covers and protectors so I could protect all of my engine and everything up underneath there. That was kind of a pain, a little bit of a challenge to get in there and do that with your tires on. But if not, you would have seen all the engine and everything all up under here, and it just didn't look good. So I did that. As you can see, we've got our lettering on here, our digital camo in the background, and of course Legally Armed America on there. And the big surprise, I don't know if we mentioned it last week or whatever, but we are moving over to the Fox network down here in Texas and Louisiana, and we will be on Fox 29 starting this Sunday at 9 o'clock in the morning. So kind of a big move for us, kind of neat. We're kind of holding off on announcing too much of it until about a week or so ago. And now, like I said, it's kind of official. So again, Fox 29, if you're anywhere in the Southeast Texas, Southwest Louisiana areas, tune in to Fox 29. You can catch it rabbit ears, DirecTV, cable, wherever. I mean, everybody can catch it. I think the audience base is potentially 300,000 down here. So pretty big. We're excited about this, very excited. We work hard at this stuff. So come around to the back here. Let me show you some other cool stuff. This is where we'll be doing a lot of filming, okay? This is neat. I put this thing in here. It's kind of a hard, bolts over here to your roll cages. If you can see this right here, it bolts to the roll cages on each side. Very sturdy. Got guns, ammo, camera, a bunch of tools. Of course, I'm still working on, so you see a bunch of my tools down in here. My Drago bag with Gumby on it. But yeah, I mean, I'll be doing quite a few videos from here. All my tools and stuff like that I like to work on with the guns and stuff, gauges and whatnot. We'll be having some our cleaner in here, kind of some announcements we'll make later on, but this is where we'll be putting our cleaner. And again, we can work on stuff right here on the back of the Jeep. Easy access, throw the guns in there, all that good stuff. So again, guys, this is it. You know, you guys have been asking to look at it. So from a distance, let me see if I can show you. There you go. That's the Jeep from a distance. And yeah, like I said, a lot of work on it, but I think it's paid off. I'm excited about it. I like the look of it. Kind of coming together. Some of the things have kind of surprised me at how it's come out. But nevertheless, I mean, not disappointed, surprised. I'm actually kind of shocked and surprised at how some of it came together. And I'm keeping the hood black for anybody that's asking. I like that look. Added a lot of black to this. To me, when it had the white fenders and the white hood, it's too much white. I don't know what it was about it. It was just too, I don't know. I don't know what it was. I like the more black that I added to it, just gave it a whole lot better look. Those black accents made a big, big difference on it. So I'm just kind of a big fan of how all that turned out. So anyway, guys, that's it. that's the Warthog in a nutshell, and that's how it's turned out so far. So if you guys appreciate that, we'll be seeing a whole lot of it in our videos because, again, I'll be working out of the back of it, doing most, if not all, the filming out of this. You've seen my old white truck in a lot of my videos, and we'll have sponsor decals on this too. That's why another reason we're bringing it to Dallas. You know, some of the sponsors that we have meetings and whatnot with, we'll be meeting with them and trying to finalize some things, and you know, have some support from those guys on there. So we'll definitely have some cool decals on there. I can't tell you the companies right now, but we're excited about some of the people that we should be working with on the Jeep. So I will tell you, you saw the bag. Drago is one of them. We're excited to be working with those. If you've ever gotten a good bag, you probably own a Drago. They don't have a huge, they don't try to make 5 million bags. They actually probably have a selection of 6 to 8 bags, but they're all high-end, top of the line. Not the cheapest bags, but very well-made bags. They make bags for Colt, I think Wyndham Weaponry, a lot of different companies. So they're sought after by some of the true industry professionals out there. So again, that's one of the sponsors that we will be working with. We are excited about that, and you know, hope to be able to share more of that with you guys as the NRA show rolls around. We will actually be visiting Phil and the rest of the Drago crew in Dallas at the NRA convention as well. So that'll be cool, man. I'm excited about that. Again, some of the other people too. We're just not at the mercy to be able to announce it right now or discuss it, but you will be hearing about it very, very soon. And it could be the right place might be next week's Friday night live stream, if we can again work out the coordinate the efforts over there in Dallas to get it. I have a decent Wi-Fi stream here because as the crow flies, my router is inside actually one of my offices in the back of my house right here, probably 25 feet from here. So it's actually about the same distance it is whenever I shoot from inside. That's why I have a good signal here. Otherwise, it'd probably be kind of a choppy, crappy signal. So anyway, guys, let's talk about some of the news this past week. I'm going to hit on the Louisiana stuff right now, simply because obviously I have my ear to the ground. We've been talking about that lately, about how a lot of the stuff going on may be state specific, and usually Louisiana is not a state that you have to worry about anything. But right now, Louisiana has, for some reason, become kind of an oddity in that we are the sportsman's paradise down here, and we've got apparently a lot of sportsmen that do not consider this paradise anymore. I want to say I saw that the Democrat-Republican split, again, you guys know my feelings about Democrat and Republicans. I think it's just for names. They all play for the same team at this point. But some of our Republicans in this state are actually good gun owners. And I think the split is 9 and 8. I think we have 9 Republicans and 8 Democrats. So we barely are holding on to the majority in this state. You know, we've got some really nutbag areas in the Shreveport, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans areas. So, you know, that's where the bulk of your gun Democrats live in our state. So same old thing. Cities are, that's where the kooks are that want to take your guns away. So same thing here, Shreveport. I think, I don't remember where the biggest used to be or was. I know after Hurricane Katrina, New Orleans wasn't quite so big because so many of the inhabitants scattered. Houston took a bunch of them. And that actually changed the population count in Louisiana quite a bit. But those are still our 3 biggest cities. And luckily we live nowhere near any of those 3. Which is why we love living here so much and why I don't have to lock everything down over here where I'm at. So anyway, there was some legislation that failed, luckily. The under 21 to purchase a gun bill failed. All that legislation is gone at this point, I believe. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but I'm pretty sure that what I read, it's failed, it's done, it's over. So until it's brought up again next year, if you are 18, 19, or 20 in the state of Louisiana, you still will be, in fact, be allowed to purchase a long gun. Obviously, somebody's on a motorcycle going crazy. Obviously, you already federally cannot buy a handgun if you are under the age of 21, but you could and can buy a long gun in many states, including Louisiana, and that is going to remain intact for now. So thankfully, You know, I guess you could say clearer heads prevailed, but I'm guessing it was probably by a vote of 9-8, 9 Republicans to 8 Democrats. So, you know, those Democrats, they just don't use their heads. I don't even want to get into that. These guys, I don't understand their thinking, and I say that because there is no real, it's group thought. You know, you've been hearing the term group thought. That's what it is. It's group thought. There's no individual thought going on. These people are looking at who is telling them how to think, and they think as a group collectively. And it's a shame because these are probably not completely stupid people, but they're giving the appearance of being inherently stupid because they are allowing other people to make up their minds for them. It's pathetic, you know, grown men and women doing this instead of thinking for themselves and thinking about what's best for our state or our country. So anyway, luckily that failed. So the anti-gunners got a big L in Louisiana for that. Another interesting bill that quite frankly, I've been looking at so many of these anti-gun bills in Louisiana that I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention to the pro-gun bills that may have been getting proposed. And there's one that's kind of slow walking its way through right now that has potential. I don't know that it's going to make it because I think, remember, we have a liberal anti-gun governor also. So we're always going to have that issue involved in our state right now, which is kind of different for us too. But this bill is interesting to me, this pro-gun bill. It is a bill that would allow concealed carry weapons or permit holders to actually carry weapons legally if they are you know, an active concealed carry permit holder, to carry guns in a school zone, on school property, if you can believe that. I know those of you guys out there in ultra liberal states are probably thinking, what? Yeah, I mean, we would, as a parent and a concealed carry weapons holder, when I bring my son to school every morning, instead of taking my gun off my side and putting it on the floorboard and locking my vehicle as I take him inside, now I could just walk in with my weapon on the side, concealed of course, not open carry, but I would be able to walk into the school with my gun on my side without worrying that I was breaking a law of some sort. Obviously, one of the politicians who was for this bill made a great statement. He said, who better to protect yourself than yourself? Meaning if I'm a concealed carry holder, I'm the best one to protect myself, not a police officer, because I'm wherever, if I'm being attacked, I'm there. You know what I mean? And he also said, and who better to protect your own child than yourself? Absolutely. That also means that if for some reason there was say an escapee or something like that might be in the neighborhood, well, you know, if I'm in the neighborhood, I could stop by my son's school and with a good conscience feel good about it. You know, I don't care if I had to sit in the lobby of the principal's office. At least I could be there and legally be in possession of a firearm in the event something happened. So to me, it's a great thing. You know, again, you know, parents are going to protect their children better than most law enforcement officers will, as evidenced by the Parkland resource officer that was at the school and ran outside and hid until everything was over. I'm not saying all police officers and security officers are like that. Please don't misunderstand me. But I think most police officers would also agree that they also would do a better job at protecting their own children than some other resource officer. I think most people will agree that a parent is the best person to look out for their children. And you know what? They're going to be their spidey senses are going to be a little bit more on edge. You know, they're going to be a little bit more, you know, looking at people and really watching. If you know your kid is down this hallway and you see somebody extremely suspicious walk through, that's going to pick up. You know, you're going to immediately notice that person and probably watch them and possibly even follow them to see who they are, what they're doing, where they're going, what their intentions are. So I think it's a great thing. I hope it passes. I would be surprised if it does pass, because again, that seems like a stretch to me. That seems like something that people are going to really have an issue with. The governor probably would try to veto it, or however that process is going to work at a state level. I do know that one of the little, I don't know, basket making clubs of teachers in Louisiana, they're opposing it. Naturally, they're opposing it, which is stupid, because that tells me anybody that's opposing this is a dummy, because they haven't educated themselves and they're too stupid or lazy to educate themselves. And they don't realize that every one of these people who would now be allowed to carry a loaded firearm on school property have already been vetted by the Louisiana State Police and basically had more of a background check done on them than that very teacher has ever had done to themselves. So we're trusting our children to people who have had some kind of little halfway background check done on them, and probably for only one time. So they might have a 25-year teacher over here that's done all kind of wacky stuff and crazy things in their own time, but they don't get background checked, they don't get investigated, they don't get fingerprinted. But yet all of us who have a concealed weapons permit have all been vetted way more heavily than any teacher does, yet we trust our teachers with our children. So I'm more qualified to be around a child than a teacher is. But the teachers don't see that. They're putting themselves up on this pedestal like they normally do, like they're some gift to the world. Look, you're there doing a job just like I do, and you work for me. So I apologize to any teachers out there who might have their feelings hurt, but you are no better than anybody else is. So just because you have the rank of a teacher does not impress me. Teach my kid, that's fine. Don't abuse my kid, don't touch my kid. But when it comes to concealed carrying and protecting our children, thank you, but I'll take care of this, okay? And I saw one of the idiots, I don't know where this fool was, I think it was out of Baton Rouge, one of the politicians out of Baton Rouge who opposed it. Again, anti-gun people say some of the stupidest things. We all know this. This person made the comment about, okay, if there was an active shooter and the police came in and there was a parent there with their gun drawn, that the police would naturally shoot this person. Okay, first of all, let me give you a nice scenario. Out of all of them that I can think of, especially the Parkland one, that cop would have never seen a parent because he was hiding on the outside of the school. So thanks, but no thanks. You didn't do any good. There was no danger of him shooting anybody. And unless that shooting is happening right now, like this very moment, all of a sudden the shooting started, that's when you have a crowd. Hey, those halls empty out immediately. So it's just gonna be the shooter and the other person. And the thing is, that shooter is gonna be shooting the other way, not in the direction or with the direction that the actual active shooter is shooting. The defensive parent will be shooting in the opposite direction. And most concealed carry holders, I know some states don't actually take a class. You can carry if you want to, constitutional carry. But in the state of Louisiana, we have to go through an 8-hour course and qualify to do this. So we're more qualified to deal with these type of situations and to deal with when you encounter a police officer in any kind of a stressful situation. So do you see what I'm saying? Either the teachers are ridiculously stupid and have not taken the time to educate themselves, as they probably belittle kids who don't educate themselves. These teachers, in fact, have not taken the time to educate themselves on the very topic that they are trying to act like they're professionals on, or they are blatantly and outright lying to you, and they do know that these concealed weapons holders have been vetted and have had background checks and have had 8 hours of training and have had training where they were actually schooled in different scenarios that might take place when they would in fact encounter a police officer in a stressful situation. So again, the teachers are either stupid or they're lying. That's usually the case, isn't it? It's either this person is stupid, is not educated, or they're lying about it because they do know the truth. Well, that's what the case is here. Because again, these teachers do not realize that these concealed weapons holders are trained in all these situations, and they're qualified. They qualify for this. So I think it's a great thing. I hope it passes. If it does pass, I will gleefully and gladly carry my loaded firearm in the school with my son. Not only did that basket weaving class of teachers oppose it in the state of Louisiana, but I also heard that the, I don't know what the proper term is, but the diocese, the Catholic schools in Louisiana also are opposing it. My son happens to go to a Catholic school. I don't care. I'm still carrying my gun in there. They are actually, I want to say, As I read more into the law, I believe, and let me get this right, I believe there will be certain places within the school, excuse me, I think there will be certain places within the school that the school can still refuse to allow firearms in it. Not the entire school. They can't say we are a firearms-free school, because then that's infringing on people's Second Amendment rights. Shall not be infringed. So they cannot put a blanket statement over the entire school. But what I understand in the bill is that they can actually, I guess, identify key rooms. Now, they didn't give examples of those rooms. My only guess is it's probably like the principal's office, maybe not into a classroom, something of that nature. Again, I don't know the details. I just read this right before coming on here. I am going to investigate this and find out, and I'll let you guys know. So they will still be able to do that. But again, to my knowledge, they are not going to be able to say, all right, regardless of the law, we are now declaring this school a gun-free zone. I don't think they're going to be able to do that anymore. So can you imagine all the gun-free signs now? Well, I guess technically, let me back up on that. The gun-free zone signs will not come down, because technically it still is a gun-free zone, because not just anybody can carry a gun onto the property. It will be only for concealed carry weapons permit holders. So I guess the gun-free zone signs will remain up at all these schools. I don't care, you know, more of a reason to go out and get your concealed carry weapons permit. That's what I say. I'm a strong proponent of concealed carry anyway. I feel like, you know, criminals do stupid things, but criminals are not stupid. No criminal wants to get shot. No criminal wants a piece of hot lead put into him by somebody that is defending themselves. So for the most part, if criminals, I know they're not great at math, but if they did a little bit of math, if a criminal knew that we had the numbers out there, let's say 10% of honest law-abiding Americans carried a loaded firearm concealed carry. And I prefer concealed carry because they don't know who is carrying. So if, you know, if we're talking about 10% of law-abiding Americans are concealed carrying, that criminal walks into a store or wherever, and you know there's 10 people in there. He doesn't know which one has a gun, but he's statistically thinking in his mind, all right, there's 10 people in here, somebody probably has a gun. Now I don't know which one, so he's probably going to mind his business. He's not going to shoot all 10 of them, or might not. I mean, obviously it's a hypothetical. I don't know what would happen, but in most cases that is not going to happen. So I feel like the more people that would conceal carry, gosh, could you imagine if we got to 20% of the you know, law-abiding American public carried? 1 in 5 people. Can you imagine if 1 in 5 people were legally carrying? Can you imagine how fast crime would go down? All it would take is a few of these clowns getting some hot lead dumped into them, and all of a sudden people are going to start tidying up a little bit. They're not going to be trying to do the things that they would normally do without thinking twice about it, because statistically not as many people were carrying a gun. So I'm a huge proponent of that. I wish more people carried. So yeah, I mean, if this is what it takes for you to be able to carry a firearm legally onto school property and feel like you're going to protect your children and other people's children in return, I'm going to know that my son is safer. There's never a moment in my mind that I'm worried, even if I'm not there. There's never a moment in my mind that I'm worried about some other concealed carry weapons permit holder in the state of Louisiana accidentally shooting my kid. No, because they're trained. They went through the class to get their concealed carry weapons permit, and for the most part, they are trained people. Again, they're more trained. They receive, in some cases, the amount of training that a law enforcement officer or a security guard will receive. I've seen the qualifications that some of these guys, and believe me, I'm not trying to rag on law enforcement, because a lot of law enforcement guys over here are buddies of mine. They will tell you that the law enforcement guys, half of them can't shoot their guns. You know, just because you're law enforcement doesn't mean you're a gun guy. They will tell you that. The law enforcement guys will tell you that. I have a very good friend of mine that was a lieutenant over the K-9 division over here, and he told me that there were guys that had to qualify twice a year to shoot their pistol, you know, or everybody over here has to qualify twice a year with their pistols in law enforcement. Excuse me, I got a gnat or something flying around my face. Anyway, twice a year to qualify, and he said, man, that twice a year when those guys qualify, that's the only 2 times a year that they ever shoot a gun. Hunting, target practicing, competition, anything like that. And he's the one that told me, he said, dude, just because you got a badge in Louisiana doesn't mean that you're a gun guy. He said, you just happen to carry a gun. So in many cases, your concealed carry weapons holders, those guys are as qualified, maybe not more so, but as qualified in some cases as law enforcement are. So, I mean, and I will tell you this, we do some filming. I'm not going to say which one, but at a range out here, and law enforcement uses it. And I'm going to tell you, there are almost as many holes in the ground and in the beams leading up to the targets as there are in the actual targets themselves. We're not talking about 50-yard shots either, guys. We're talking about 15-yard shots. And guys are shooting in the ground. I'm not saying that they're careless, but obviously their sights are not lined up properly. You know, that's a basic fundamental of shooting, right? So, again, my point is, I feel like the average person who takes it upon themselves to get their concealed carry weapons permit, in many cases, I'm not saying in all, in many cases, those people have at least taken it upon themselves to get familiar with the weapon that they're going to qualify with, and that already makes them a safer person because they're more comfortable and more efficient with the actual weapon that they're going to be carrying. So, again, that self-training is very valuable to me, and to me makes that person extremely qualified. Look, you don't need a 6-week course to properly handle a firearm, a pistol. It doesn't require a 6-week course. It doesn't require you giving blood or taking a polygraph test. That's not necessary, guys. This is a basic tool. This is it's no more complicated to use a pistol than it is to use a jack to jack your vehicle up and change the spare tire, right? Am I right? So you don't need to be certified to change your jack or to change your tire, to use a jack. So again, all this emphasis, just because the tool, you know, a tire tool, I can beat somebody's head in with a tire tool just as easy as somebody else could shoot somebody. So if you're wanting to kill somebody with it, everything is a deadly weapon if your intentions are wrong. So just because a gun can kill doesn't mean that my tire tool can't kill or the vehicle can't kill. So to put that kind of emphasis on a gun just because it's a gun is really stupid. To think that a person needs all this huge amounts of training and all that, you know, I don't understand why some of these teachers, and I get it, it's a political issue, but why they feel like all this vast amount of training needs to go into somebody simply using a handgun. It's not necessary. Now, as far as learning the rules and the fundamentals of safety in terms of a gun, yeah, that's important. I do feel like the things that are covered in concealed carry, remember, an 8-hour class, guys, an 8-hour class. You took a class, you took less time to learn how to drive a vehicle, which could kill more people than a gun. You took less time to learn that than you did in a concealed carry weapons permit class. So I feel like the adequate amount of training, and for those of you that aren't in Louisiana, I'll just tell you, you know, we have an 8-hour course that we have to take. We turn in fingerprints, FBI ID card, 2 sets of fingerprints actually, in case one of them is not legible or readable by the Louisiana State Police. Then we take an 8-hour course, and then after that 8-hour course, you go out to a range and you actually qualify. And when I say qualify, look, it's basically the fundamentals of how to shoot a gun. I mean, you could literally take this ink pen and hit the target just as easy as shooting your gun. I remember when I qualified, you know, for as long as I've been shooting in my life, I was actually nervous to go take the shooting part because I was like, man, you know, I've been doing this, shooting guns my whole life. Please don't let me be the guy that's going to go out there and I'm going to miss my target. I'm thinking 50-yard shots, you know, and they're expecting bullseyes. And I walked up there, you could almost lean over and touch the bullseye from where you were standing. I mean, it's literally, I think you start at 5 feet, go to 10 feet, and then 15 feet, something like that. It's ridiculous. So the qualification is not for marksmanship. Now, they are expecting you to stay on the paper. You know, your target's this wide and this tall. They expect you to keep all your rounds on paper and actually inside the silhouette of the paper itself. So you're shooting at the mass of the body. It's the same size as the mass of a body. And of course, all your rounds have to be on that. I have never seen anybody fail that. I've actually gone to a lot of these courses and helped some of the people take the classes. You know, some of the instructors helped them follow through with it. And I've seen people who surprised me that they were even gun people go there and they kept everything on target. So again, they're not sharpshooting. I think that, you know, an NRA instructor, and that's where you get your qualifications from, the NRA, the instructor can fail somebody if they feel like they're an unsafe person. So if they see somebody scratching their head with the muzzle of the gun, or, you know, flagging everybody, they can kick them out. They can kick them to the curb, regardless that they paid their $125. That's a typical fee here in Louisiana. They can boot them out. They can tell them, nope, you're unsafe. You're not getting it today. And that person can piss and moan and cry about it, but it doesn't matter. Because if that instructor feels that that person is not qualified to safely handle and carry a pistol, they don't have to give them their concealed carry weapons permit. So there's some discretion there, and I like that. I like the fact that, you know, we're not letting unsafe people walk around with loaded guns. Now, look, let me say this. I'm certainly not standing up for every single person out there carrying a gun, because I know that there are some unsafe people probably carrying guns out there. I realize that. My only thing that I can say to that is let's hope to God that person never has to actually draw their weapon, or never does draw their weapon. Hope they're never put in a position where they have to. Let's also hope they don't have, you know, people around them. I've seen open carry people open carrying way more carelessly than I've ever heard of a concealed carry weapons person carrying. Now, this is not a concealed carry weapons argument versus open carry. I'm just saying, how many times have you guys seen the pictures online of some guy with some, what's it called? What's the little cheap, dinky cloth holsters? Uncle Mike, is that it? Uncle Mike's holsters? With an Uncle Mike's holster, a one-size-fits-all Uncle Mike's holster with a little clip on it, hung on the guy's back belt on the outside of his pocket, with the gun hanging down and hanging almost falling out, with no retention strap or anything like that on there. I've seen, you could probably, if you guys are on a computer right now, you could probably Google right now, you know, stupid guy carrying gun in public, or guy carrying gun in public, or something like that, and probably see hundreds of pictures out there of some of these open carry guys sloppily carrying their guns just to prove to everybody that they can carry a gun, but they're doing it in the most unsafe manner. That's the kind of guy you want to get away from, because when you see that little sloppy cloth holster that's just basically a container for the gun, because it's not retaining it and holding it tightly in there. You know, my concealed carry weapon today, it's a Glock 26. You know, I'm in a Kydex, and look, it took me a while to get used to Kydex, because I used to carry 1911 in leather, and of course that, once you sweat it a little bit and all that, it formed to fit your body. But I believe in Kydex now. This is a Blade Tech. And look, man, this thing, as you can see, it's not like these old cheapo Uncle Mike's or something like that, you know. I've got, it's guarding my trigger guard perfectly inside there. I've even got, you know, the whole front of it, as far as holster wear, the holster's it's only gonna wear inside the holster. It's not gonna wear in my clothes. A good clip that's gonna hold, you see where it grabs your belt and holds onto it. You know, if I took off running with this thing, it's not coming out. I mean, it's not coming out. As you see, it clicks in there. It's got a positive click when it drops in, see? So this is a safe way to carry. And I'm not trying to sell holsters for Blade Tech. They didn't give me this, I bought this. It's just a good holster. So my point is, I see the concealed carry weapons people in many cases being safer. Again, I know there's a lot of open carry guys out there. There may be some on here right now, because there's some local gun shops that we're friends with, and I know some of those guys open carry. And again, there's a difference between a gun guy who's open carrying and some guy trying to prove a point who's open carrying. A gun guy who's going to open carry is going to carry like this. Now, he may carry an outside the waistband, but it's mostly going to be something like this. I've never seen a true gun guy, a guy who knows guns and a guy who knows gun safety, and this is not a knock against Uncle Mike, but carry one of those little cloth holsters. Again, that's a one-size-fits-all. If you go to Academy or Walmart and you're in the holster section, the gun section, and you go up to a holster, and if it tells you that it can hold a Glock 19, Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0, 1911, Ruger revolver, if it gives you 15 different brands and styles of guns that it can carry, don't buy it. Do not buy it. I don't care whose name is on it. I don't care if Blade Tech's name is on it. Do not buy that holster. Buy the holster that fits your gun. Buy the holster that fits your gun, please. Do not get a one-size-fits-all and think that, ooh, I can save money because now I can carry all my guns in the same holster. It doesn't work like that. You are a very unsafe gun owner at that moment when you walk out of there and put a loaded firearm cocked and locked inside a one-size-fits-all holster. Don't do it, guys. Again, I'm not trying to put anybody out of business here that makes these one-size-fits-all holsters, but they are horrible investments. The only thing I've ever seen a one-size-fits-all holster useful for, and this is a bit of a stretch, but I do find them useful here. If you're a guy that likes to have a gun in your car, in your truck, under the seat, in the dashboard, wherever, again, I'm not suggesting to do that, but if you're that kind of guy, yes, it will protect the finish of the gun. You can put it in there and it's not gonna have the gun rolling around under your seat. It's actually sitting in that cloth holster. That's the only benefit that I ever see. Or if you're transporting the gun, let's say if you are putting it in a bag with some other stuff in there, to take to the range to go shoot. The one-size-fits-all holsters are good for that. But look, man, if you're carrying, please don't use a one-size-fits-all holster for that. Please don't. And I'm not a fan of the cloth holsters to begin with. I don't think there's a cloth holster out there that I've ever seen that was safe to carry a gun in. You usually see, sometimes it's a leather holster, but many times you're going to see when these people have shot holes in their legs from carrying, a lot of times it's because they're carrying in a gun that has cloth, and that cloth ends up binding on that trigger, and they shoot themselves in the leg. So do yourself a favor and the gun community a favor and just try not to do that. Now, I will say this, I don't see a lot of real gun people, responsible gun people doing that. Again, it's some of these people that are, trying to prove a point that, hey, I can carry a gun, look at me, I got a gun on my side, and they're, it's hanging off. Don't do it. Don't do it. I feel like we as a gun community have such a huge responsibility carrying guns out there that goes beyond protecting ourselves and our families. It's also to prove that we are a responsible community and that we're the better people and that we're the adults in the room. And when we do stupid things and childish things like that that are extremely unsafe, all it takes is one person. You know how this anti-gun movement works. It doesn't have to be a rash of things that happen that causes a movement in the anti-gun community. It can be one thing. Look at the bump stock. Bump stock's used one time, it's banned. You've got this community that will jump on one thing. So think about it. If you get in a state that is borderline blue and red, that, Louisiana's not like that, but hey, if we have 9 Republicans and 8 Democrats right now, that's pretty borderline in terms of state law. All it would take is one clown at the mall, for instance, to have his gun hang out of one of those cloth holsters and drop it and shoot a kid, a 4-year-old behind him. Then what? You know what I mean? Then what? They jump on that, and the next law that's passed is going to prevent concealed carry weapons holders from doing something, or anybody from carrying in a mall or within 500 feet of a mall or something like that. So again, we have a big responsibility to not only protect ourselves and our families, but to also make sure that we don't give the left or anybody in the anti-gun movement any fuel to try to pile on these additional stupid laws by holding up a poster of a child with a bullet hole in their head and saying, look what this did, look what this did, and trying to get people to vote and to march on the grounds of emotion. And let's face it, the left acts on emotion. That's how the anti-gun movement works. They seize on that emotion that people are, bound up and get wound up when things like that happen. So it doesn't take much to make things happen during that time of emotion. So again, I feel like that's a big deal to us. We have to practice gun safety at all times. I don't think we can ever be careless. Anyway, that's just my rant on that. I really feel like our responsibility is greater than what we probably think it is on a normal basis. Let's see. What else did I have to go over? Let's do this. It's those of you that can't make it to Dallas next week, email me at paul@legallyarmedamerica.com and let me know what you would like to see next week, or what you would like for us to ask a gun manufacturer. And we'll try to do that. Real quick before I forget, I have all of your emails. Many of you have emailed me wanting to do, like we had talked about, doing a guest host on the show. We are still going to do that. Obviously, this week I wanted to have this show outside, and next week we'll be doing the NRA show. So probably in 2 to 3 weeks, I'll bring a guest on and we'll do something like that. I have not forgotten about you guys, and I do have your emails. They are flagged. I do have them held, and I will, start going through those and getting you guys as a guest on the show within the next few weeks or so. So I have not forgotten about that. Again, so you didn't send me your email in vain, and if you have not heard back from me, that does not mean I'm not going to bring you on. It just means I haven't gotten around to it yet. So I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that. Don't think that I blew you guys off, because I haven't. I don't know if there's a whole lot else to go over, to be honest with you guys. As you can see, it's starting to get dark. You may not be able to see it because my camera's trying to, I guess, adjust for it, but that's staring right back at where the sun is, so the sky is pretty bright right there, but it's starting to get a little darker. As you can see, the color's starting to go down a little bit. So I'm going to probably sign off of here. I'm actually shooting this from my phone, so the video screen is extremely small for me, even with my glasses on, and I can't read any of your comments. I see you guys on there communicating, commenting, and it's just a blur to me, so I can't see anything at all. What I'm going to try to do is go in. YouTube was supposed to set it up to where a lot of these, or all of the comments that you guys are commenting, that we could go back in after the live feed was over with and read all of that. Because I want to go back in and read and answer or communicate to you guys after the actual live feed is over with. And for the last several weeks, I haven't been able to do that. So I don't know why, YouTube talked about doing that. I'll go in there. If you go, and maybe some of you guys or YouTube guys understand this, I'll go in. If you can go look at some of the older live streams that we've done and go look in the comment section, and like you guys right now, there's hundreds of comments that you're leaving right now, okay? I'll go back and look, and there's like 10, maybe 10. So I don't understand why it's taken a very few, but not showing any of the other ones. I don't understand that. So if any of you guys know if it's a setting that I have on there wrong, why would it pick this person and not this person? I don't know. I don't understand why it's doing that. So again, if anybody knows, please let me know. I would appreciate that, because I really like looking at the interaction here. I mean, usually I have my iPad. I actually have it charging inside, but I forgot to bring it out here, and I could have held that up and read y'all's comments and questions, but I left it in there. Before I knew it, I was setting up out here to live stream, and I was running late on time. So I apologize for that. Again, I see y'all commenting now, and I can't even read them. I don't want to get so close that I can read them, because then my face will be all in your face, and you guys probably don't want that. But anyway, guys, look, man, I appreciate it. It is Friday night right now. If you guys are going to do anything tonight, please be safe. If you're drinking, please let somebody else drive. I want to see you guys back here next Friday night. Consider all you guys friends, and I don't want to see anything bad happen to anybody. Weather down here in South Louisiana is absolutely beautiful right now. Temperature is, man, probably in the 50s, 60s maybe. Awesome weather. As you can see, not a cloud in the sky. We're on a dry spell right now. I love it. Grass is greener than anything. The pollen has finally stopped dropping, so I'm not sneezing my head off anymore. So it's awesome. I'm actually going to probably take the little tops off of the Jeep tomorrow. My little boy loves riding in a Jeep, so probably going to take that off and ride around town tomorrow. Guys, if you're in the Lake Charles area, please check out Fox 29 on Sunday morning on the Fox network here in Southwest Louisiana and Southeast Texas. As again, I said at the beginning of the show, we are moving to Fox 29, to the actual network, Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Legally Owned America will be showing on television. I already shipped them the first show. They have it in the queue, and it's ready to go in 2 days. So yeah, if you're in the area, man, look it up. Please tell some people about it. If you follow us on Facebook, on our page. Now, we have a page and we have a group. I noticed a lot of people entering the group today because Fox is running some promos for us on Fox all week long. Go check out our actual page where you actually like it. In other words, don't join the group. You can join the group too. That's just something else we use. But there's way more activity that takes place on our actual page. So go to the Legally Owned America page and like it. And yeah, I mean, all our videos are on there. If you could go grab a video of the Fox 29 show and share it. Tell your friends to watch us on Sunday morning, 9 o'clock. Again, Fox 29, it's cool, man. I'm excited about it. It's a good opportunity for us. And You know, we work hard at what we do, just like you guys do, and it's nice to finally, you know, take that next step in moving on, you know, with your product and getting some recognition for it. So we're very happy. We're very excited about it. It's going to bring some new sponsors in for us also. Hopefully come back from the Dallas NRA annual meeting, and we have the Jeep decked out with decals, you know, because, you know, we picked up all those additional supporters. So we're very excited. Again, guys, if you're going to Dallas next week, hit us up, email me, paul@legallyarnedamerica.com. We'd love to meet you guys. You know, we'll be announcing what booths we'll be hanging out at. And if you get a chance, come by and hang out with us. You know, we're going to try to do live streaming as much as we can over there, but we don't know what kind of Wi-Fi connection we're going to have until we get there. So we don't want to commit to anything that we can't follow up on. Anyway, guys, I'm going to shut this thing down. And I very much appreciate you guys hanging out with us, as always. You know, you guys are a lot of fun to hang out with, and I can't wait to go inside because I'm going to go read you guys' comments and everything like that. So we will see you guys, hopefully, next week. Thanks, guys.